What's good, people? It's your boy Persona, and welcome to my Concord review on the PlayStation 5. So, for those who don't know, Concord is a game that is being made by Firewalk Studio, which was recently acquired by PlayStation in April of 2023. And this Concord is one of the 6 live service games that PlayStation would be releasing. And this one is actually the second one to release in 2024. The first one was obviously Helldivers 2. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Concord and give my review. So I do kind of want to start with the positives when it comes to Concord, right? So Concord for me is a game that I do find to be very enjoyable, very addictive, and have really good gameplay. One of the highlights for me when it comes to Concord would have to be the hero selection that you have. The heroes in this game definitely are very diverse, very different, very unique, and they all have their own unique play style. So for those who've been watching my live streams, know that my favorite hero is definitely Lennox. He's definitely somebody that fits my playstyle to a T. He is somebody that actually is very fast paced, very strong on the battlefield. If you got a Lennox on your team and then Lennox knows what he's doing, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win. You know, some may say that's not good. Some people may say Lennox is too strong. I think Lennox is just right. He's perfect, right? But when it comes to the heroes and their diversity, I do believe that there is a good mixture of characters where if you're somebody that's looking for like somebody to fit your playstyle, I don't think you will have a problem finding that here in this game. I do think of all the 16 characters that are in Concord, there is literally somebody for everybody when it comes to this game. And everyone's not going to play the same. Obviously, there's definitely a lot of diversity there as well when it comes to not just the look of the characters, but how they play, their gun mechanics and the play style of how they use their guns, and also their abilities. There's a lot of abilities that are maybe a little bit more selfish, like Lennox, you know, where like he has his exploding throwing knife, and he can self-heal. Those are his abilities. But then you have somebody like Imari, who is more of a tanky, bigger character, and her play style is more of a support and help the team. She has an ability where she can give the team an overshield. Then she also has her second ability is that she can give herself a shield, an overshield as well, but she can also use her shield as a protection, like what you see down at the bottom with that Imari on my team. So, you know, when it comes to the diversity of Concord, at least from the hero perspective, I do think that Concord developers, Firewalk, I do think they did a really good job of creating a really good myriad of heroes for you to choose from. I do think some characters need a buff. Some characters may need, you know, to be reworked just a smidge, just to kind of, you know, fit, you know, to clean up a little bit and make it a little bit, you know, more in line, I would say, when it comes to everybody else. But I do think that overall, the characters are fun, and I do think you will have a good time with trying to find who your hero is, per se. I do want to touch on the crew builder a little bit within this game, and to me, I think the crew builder is a really unique aspect to Concord when it comes to how you can kind of build your own playstyle within a match in real time. So what I mean by this is the crew builder is a system within the game where you can build up a set number of heroes within like a deck, and these would be the heroes that you would deploy into matches with. Now, what makes this so unique and interesting is that every hero in Concord has its own intrinsic ability. So Lennox, for example, has a long range rep and fire, and someone like Amari has quick healing, and then someone like, say, Roka has quick mobility. So if you were to create a crew builder deck with, say, those 3 heroes, when you cipher through those heroes within a match, when you die and you switch to like another hero, you maintain that intrinsic ability from the previous hero that you were playing as on the new hero. So an example of this is, say you start as Lennox and you have long range weapon fire. When you switch to, say, Roka, because Roka's intrinsic ability is fast, improved mobility, you would gain the improved mobility with Roka when you switch to her, but you would also maintain the long range weapon fire from Lennox as well. Now this adds a unique like I said, dynamic when it comes to matches and, you know, being able to kind of build up this super hero that's moving fast and shooting far and healing quick and all these other different things. And I view this as both like a positive and a negative. The reason why I also look at it as a bit of a negative is if you're somebody that kind of really only finds maybe one, maybe two heroes that you really gel with, and you try to switch to other heroes to kind of get some of those abilities and then try to get back to your hero, your favorite hero, you run the risk of losing out on being able to play as that hero because somebody else might have grabbed them, right? So that's kind of like that high risk, high reward situation where you kind of have to really determine, do I want to switch to gain this ability, or am I fine where I'm at with the one or maybe two intrinsic abilities that are there? I do think it's a unique aspect and a interesting addition to a game like this, where there's, you know, it adds a different level of strategy to matches. But again, like I said, it's a bit of a positive and a negative, especially if you end up losing out on playing as your favorite hero. Now I want to get into some of the game modes when it comes to Concord. So originally for me, you know, I was playing a lot of Brawl and the Brawl game mode, which has Takedown, which is like TDM, and Trophy Hunt, which is like Kill Confirm from Call of Duty. Those two were definitely my favorite modes, but I did end up playing the objective-based modes as well, which was Arena Control, which is kind of like Domination, and then Signal Chase, which is like Hardpoint or Headquarters from Call of Duty. Those two modes I ended up playing. I didn't play a whole lot of those modes, but those two modes, from what I did play of them, I did think that they were fun. And if you're playing with a team, it's definitely even more fun. The thing with objective-based modes, though, is like it's important, especially with a game like this, with like the heroes and all these other different aspects to it. It's important to have a team, so I kind of stick to the Brawl playlist. But when it comes to the game modes and the playlist, I do think that it's a decent amount there. I do think there's a lot of other things there when you've got, you know, the practice range, the training, the time trials and things like that. Then you've got like the bit of a hardcore mode where you can you know, play with no respawns and things like that, which I think is pretty cool. But as far as the Brawl game mode, I didn't find myself getting bored with just playing those two modes. Even though there's like maybe 4 or 5 modes in the game, there's still other things outside of the multiplayer that you can do in terms of the time trials and everything else. But I enjoy it. You know, I think those two modes were good. I do hope that they do add more unique modes to the game, and I know they did say that they would at some point through the roadmap. But as of right now, I do think that the modes that they do have there, most people will play anyway when it comes to you know, first-person shooters. So I think that the game modes is a good selection so far. In terms of other activities outside of the game modes that you can do, obviously there is a reputation system in this game, and with the reputation, that kind of acts as your level up system. So the more matches you play and things like that, the higher your reputation goes. But then you also have levels with your characters in the game as well that you can strive for to get like new costumes, new weapon charms, and all these other different things. So the game does a good job of giving you a lot of things to strive for, or enough things to keep you coming back to strive for. You know, and then with the job board itself, there's also a job board system where, you know, there's different missions that or jobs or bounties or whatever you want to call it within the game, where, you know, let's say it says defeat 200 opponents and you get like 2500 XP, right? There's those type of bounties and things like that that are continuously cycling as well, which gives you something to strive for. And again, if you find 1 or 2 heroes that you really like, you've got 2 separate leveling systems that really keeps you preoccupied. And then, like I said, for me personally, it does keep me coming back and wanting to play more so that I can get the best costume for Lennox, which is his final costume, which means I need to play and get XP. And then, you know, if you want to get more reputation, you know, you got to keep playing the game and do really good. And, you know, and I do think the leveling system is good as well. I don't feel like it's a bit of a drag. You know how some games you might find things kind of dragging. I'm not really getting that vibe with Concord. Part of it might be because I'm enjoying myself so much, but I do think that the leveling system in this game and the things that they have you striving for is pretty good. One thing I will say though is, especially when it comes to the heroes and kind of being able to choose to understand like what you need to do in order to get a specific like costume or something like that, I do wish that they had the descriptions of that stuff on the actual costume itself. Whenever you hover over it, they don't really explain that stuff. That's in a different section where it kind of tells you what would be the next thing you get for a hero when you level up to a specific level. I think that stuff should be whenever you're looking at the accessories on a specific hero, right? So that's definitely something I think they can fix. So now you might be asking yourself, well, Persona, is this game for me? I can't answer that, but what I can tell you from my perspective is I do think Concord is a fun experience that, if you're somebody that is looking at the gameplay and you're seeing, you see something that you like, I would say give the game a chance. Another negative for me that I would like point out is there is no campaign within this game. I do think when it comes to the characters, the uniqueness of the characters and the vignettes and different types of weekly storytelling that they're going to be doing when it comes to this game, I do think that it is a missed opportunity that Concord does not have a campaign. I do hope that is something that they add in later. If that's something that you kind of want or are expecting, then this might not be something for you. But when it comes to the multiplayer aspect of this game and the gameplay itself, I do think that Firewalk has done a good job of creating a first-person shooter, hero-like shooter experience that, although it may fall within the hero shooter genre, I do think that it does a good job of maintaining its own individuality when it comes to, what the game is trying to offering in the genre of a hero shooter. There is a lot of comparisons to, like, say, Overwatch and things like that, and I think when it, my response to that would be the only thing that is comparable to Overwatch would be the fact that it is a hero shooter. But I think when it comes to the actual heroes themselves and the gameplay overall for Concord, it is vastly different. And I do think that Firewalk has done a good job with this game. For me personally, I'm giving Concord an 8 out of 10. I do think that it is a solid experience. I do hope it is something that they, continue to support for the long haul. I do hope people do pick up this game and play it because it really is a fun experience. But there are things there that I do think Firewalk, I wish they would have included within the game to make it more of a complete experience. And again, I think the biggest gripe for me would be the campaign, but the gameplay and other aspects of the game, what they were trying to do with this being a live service game, no microtransactions, no battle pass or anything like that, I think they nailed it. So shout out to Firewalk, shout out to Concord. But I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. It's been your boy Persona, and I'm out, guys. Peace.